It's time to put the good in your morning. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, some Turkish farm animals storm City Hall.
It got a little fog beginning to develop right there on the horizon, but other than that, we're going to be off to a great four-state start. We'll look ahead into the weekend from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And a Pennsylvania man eats over 130 days of Chick-fil-A. The KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 starts now. Thanks for joining us on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. One Mercy doctor shares her story after receiving the coronavirus vaccine on Tuesday. Donna Stokes is the infection preventionist for Mercy. This is her getting her first dose of the Pfizer COVID vaccine yesterday at Mercy, on Tuesday, 24 hours later, she shared how things are going.
Spot on my arm. That's it. So I'm definitely one of those that apparently is not going to show side effects to the first dose of the vaccine. So all is well.
As of right now, Mercy is not mandating the vaccine for its employees. However, they are hopeful that as more staff members take the vaccine, it will encourage those who are hesitant to step up and get the vaccine as well. Jasper County Health Department reports 2 more COVID-19 related deaths. The patients were both men, one in his 60s, the other in his 70s. The latest deaths bring the county's total to 92. Joplin Health Department reports 4 more COVID-19 deaths. They say the patients were 3 men ages 49, 72, and 83. An 83-year-old woman also died. The latest deaths bring the city's total to 80. State of Kansas prepares for the next wave of COVID-19 vaccines. In a press conference yesterday, Governor Laura Kelly said the next wave of coronavirus vaccines will be for first responders, some essential workers, teachers, child care workers, and people with high-risk health conditions. The general public can expect to receive vaccines in the summer of 2021. Until then, the governor is urging Kansans to keep following CDC guidelines.
It's a reminder someday the pandemic, the quarantining, the remote learning, the carry-out-only dining, Zoom meetings will be over. Not tomorrow, not next month, but in the foreseeable future.
State will add 19 more free sites to the 24 already in place. 2 men are arrested in connection with the shooting deaths of a Willard, Missouri couple. According to police, 28-year-old Alexander Shute and 30-year-old Brianna Sproul were shot on their porch on November 14th. Willard Police Chief Tom McLean said the 2 were targeted. Since then, police have arrested 18-year-old Theron Plum, who's accused of helping dispose of the gun used in the murders. The latest arrest is Plum's relative, Matthew Plum. He's accused of actually disposing of the gun. There are other suspects in the case, including the alleged shooter, but police are not releasing any names until formal charges are filed. 18-year-old Theron Plum was charged with tampering with physical evidence and a felony prosecution. We know most students love a good snow day, but those look a little different now in McDonald County. The district has changed how snow days work so that students do not miss classwork. Whenever there's inclement weather, they will have students stay home and learn virtually. On Monday, just a few days ago, was one of those days, and they say it worked pretty well.
First, I was a little upset because I like snow days and stuff, but it wasn't too bad at all, for me, because like I said, I could get work done and still enjoy the snow and have fun.
It was nice that I had the opportunity to do some rapport building with students when they weren't in the classroom, and to have those moments where I just appreciated the fact that they were being responsible and managing their own time.
Change only applies to short school closures that are less than 36 hours. Students at Irving Elementary in Joplin are in the holiday spirit, and they're sharing some of that spirit with the Ronald McDonald House. Kids at Irving participated in Spirit Week, in which they came to school dressed up as a different Christmas theme. Each day they dressed up, they brought in items for the house, things like microwavable foods and gift cards. Irving Student Council chose to give the Ronald McDonald House. Koam Toy Box Campaign has come to an end, and this year and the past 31, you've given money to the campaign, and we've turned that money into toys for area kids in need. And now those toys are gone. 5-Star Moving came by yesterday to pick up the toys here at the station as they begin their journey to their new homes, and we want to thank you and everyone who donated for their generosity. Well, a gang of sheep, goat, and 3 lambs stormed the city hall in Turkey's central province of Nevşehir on Monday. The group caused terror around the building and chased municipality workers. Wow, they were terrorizing the area there. CCTV footage showed the gang chasing workers at the entrance of the building. The gang of animals were brought under control within minutes and returned to their owner. "Get out of my way," he says. Mayor of Nevşehir, Rasim Ari, returned the visit on Tuesday.
I think my favorite is the mayor. I don't know if that is the mayor right there in the blue shirt. I'm gonna hope that's the mayor.
I wonder what they're protesting.
Don't dig me into, no, no, nice try. Nice try. It's a Thursday. It's a Thursday.
Not Friday, okay.
I'm that close to getting to the weekend.
All right, Gus, do this, run this story again.
Right.
Tomorrow. Michael's got something up his sleeve.
Talk about that off camera. All right, live look outside of Television City. We are starting to pick up just a little fog right there on the low-lying areas, and it's not causing visibility problems. The big problem is the temperature, because we could see a little bit of that freeze back over, cause some slick spots here. So I want everybody to be very careful about that, because from the Freeman Health System sky camera right now, we're only sitting at 24 degrees. Now, you can tell from Freeman, visibility was much better than what we're seeing outside the mothership. Didn't even see that haze right there, but I just want everybody to know that is existing. Haven't had any reports of slick spots. I don't want to make it sound like we're getting widespread reports of it. I just want everybody to be wary of it. For the bus stop forecast, sunrise at 7:26, and we will be off to a mostly sunny start. We're going to dive in here to the big northeastern storm in just a little bit. Right now it's being blamed for 2 deaths and also a 60-car pileup in Pennsylvania. So let's just consider ourselves lucky that we're just going to talk about temperatures in the 40s and sunshine today. Now, as we emerge into Friday, we're going to see the reemergence of cloud cover. We're going to move in from the west. Friday's going to be dry, however, and temperatures actually going to make it up in the low 50s. But after that, we will see some Friday night, early Saturday morning rain. Not going to be anything severe, and even this light green, that's an equivalent of probably a drizzle, a couple drops. That's not really going to pose too much of a travel problem right there on the backside of it, because coming off of a 50-degree day on Friday, it's not going to be able to stick around, and really we should be done with that by mid-Saturday morning. Looking like a good weekend. 47 on Saturday, sunshine after the rain's gone, and then all the way up into the 50s for Sunday. Tanya?
Well, up next, the latest as the COVID vaccines continue to be dispersed around the country. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. A new study shows wine and cheese are actually good for improving age-related cognitive issues. Cheese was found to be the most protective food item in older participants. This is according to research Iowa State University published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease. UK-based study of more than 17,000 people had participants complete a fluid intelligence test to see how well they were able to think on their feet over the course of 4 years. The findings also showed daily red wine consumption also boosted brain function. Researchers find high blood pressure can affect your memory and thinking skills. They say those with high blood pressure experience some form of accelerated decline in thinking skills compared to those who maintained normal blood pressure readings. Researchers also found that people who do not develop high blood pressure until later in life experience faster cognitive decline than seniors with normal blood pressure. High blood pressure refers to blood pressure greater than 130/80. Healthcare workers have been the top priority so far during the largest vaccination effort in American history. Seniors in nursing homes are also among the first Americans to receive coronavirus vaccine shots in a number of states nationwide. Phil Keating takes a look at one senior who received the vaccine in Florida on Wednesday.
And with that quick shot in the arm, 88-year-old former school teacher Vera Leap became one of the first elders to receive the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine administered by the state's vaccination strike team.
Thank you very much.
A little overwhelmed by the cameras and attention, she said she's just hoping for the best to begin defeating the pandemic.
Honey, I don't know how I feel about it. You know, the end's going to come, and how long it's going to be, I have no idea.
But you're excited to get the shot.
I guess so.
Nearly 200 residents and staff volunteered to get the vaccine on day one at John Knox Village. In retirement-rich Florida, 1 out of every 5 residents is a senior citizen. Along with healthcare workers who began getting the vaccine Monday, seniors at retirement communities, nursing homes, and assisted living facilities are the next priority.
It helps save lives, but it also helps increase the quality of life for some of our most vulnerable residents.
With Hanukkah underway and Christmas next week, people are traveling and celebrating together, which worries Dr. Anthony Fauci.
We have a ways to go.
He warns that holiday celebrations could create even more dangerous spread of the virus than Thanksgiving did, despite pleas for people to stay home. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar said all 1.5 million nursing home residents could get immunized by Walgreens and CVS by the end of the year.
They can literally take care of thousands of these assisted living and nursing homes each and every day.
Well, next week, a second coronavirus vaccine, Moderna's, could begin to be disseminated to people as well, boosting the nation's supply. A panel of scientists is recommending the FDA grant emergency authorization for it, which the governor today said he expects to happen by Friday. Pennsylvania man eats Chick-fil-A for 130 days straight. Matt Stout has eaten Chick-fil-A because he wanted to break an unofficial record. He started the challenge in July, eating at the fast food restaurant every day it was open because he saw another man in California do the same for 114 days.
Jumped off of a cliff, would you? Sound like my mother right there, don't I?
No, but if a sheep gathered at City Hall, would you follow it?
That goat did. We're still trying to figure out what that goat was doing. Rogue goat. Tanya says they needed him to communicate with the mayor.
Yes, remember we talked about the kangaroos being able to communicate with humans yesterday, and other domesticated animals like goats can also communicate with
And I'm
humans.
still arguing that it's not just domesticated animals that are able to communicate with other species.
So the sheep, I think they just needed that. They needed Billy's voice.
I bet you they were as nice the first time he showed up as they were like how long did he go? How many days? We already forgot.
Oh, for the Chick-fil-A thing?
Yeah.
The first one was 114 and he went 130,
Oh.
I think.
I bet you they were nice, politeful, and delight on day 130 as they were on day number 1.
Well, he got 1 day off a week because they're closed on Sundays. Is that right, correct? Or you could.
No, wait, that's when I go to Hobby Lobby too. Weather Almanac on December 17th. Look at that record low. Dates back to 1989. Now, as a matter of fact, December 16th record low was also 1989 when it was 7 below. So frigid cold of 89, nothing. All of a sudden I can look at 2020 this week and be like, everything's going to be fine. We do have a little fog that's developed down there in our low-lying areas. Just need everybody to be very careful because that can develop some slick spots on the ground and the roads. And here's why. From the Freeman Health System Sky Camera, we only sit at 24 degrees. Temperatures mid to low 20s, way below the freezing mark, and that's why that fog can flip over pretty fast. And as far as our wind chills go, we're now down to 12 degrees in Independence, 16 in Webb City, and 18 in Fort Scott. No worries on the Skywatch storm tracker. All our cloud cover has moved off to the east, and there's nothing behind it. So let's talk about what's on the East Coast. Remember, that was actually part of that system that developed out to the west of us, rolled through on Tuesday, and then just exploded and just made such a terrible impact on their weather and driving conditions. What you see right here on the swirl of the jet stream, it's a big low pressure system sitting off of the East Coast. So as this thing rolled through, 60-car pileup in Pennsylvania being blamed for 2 deaths during this winter storm and a good 3 to 4 feet of snow during the peak up in northern Pennsylvania and into central New York. as well. So let's make sure we all get to our destination safe and sound. I know our bus drivers do a marvelous job with that with our little ones. Now, even by the time we get to 9 a.m., say that first recess rolls around, we're still looking at wind chills that are going to be in the low to mid 20s. So chilly morning, but eventually we're up into the mid 40s. We're pretty much where we anticipate being for this time of mid-December. So as we work from Thursday night into Friday morning, we do see the cloud cover reemerge out from the west. Friday's going to be nice, though, mostly cloudy, but up into the 50s. But now Friday night into mid-Saturday morning, that's where we see the development of the rain. We're looking at the heavier rain down south. That's going to be pretty light right there. And you kind of see that flip over into the pink and the white. Sometimes that can be the wintry mix, even some flurries. Here's the thing. The fact that we're going to be up into the 50s on Friday, it's really not going to pose too much of a travel problem for the rest of the weekend. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Our Something to Talk About this morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. It's the topic of paying college athletes because it's actually going to go before the Supreme Court next year. Justices have agreed to review a court decision that could be the first step in making historic changes. Mike Tobin, he's got the specifics. Mike's in Chicago.
From the university to television networks, even shoe companies, everyone seems to get a piece of the revenue from college sports, except for the guys who take the hits and shoot the basket.
We had always felt that there was going to come a tipping point for the student athletes to finally come together and say enough is enough.
The U.S. Supreme Court agreed to hear an appeal from the NCAA to a suit from former West Virginia running back Sean Alston. This case could end roughly a decade of legal battles and open the floodgates to compensation for student athletes. The chief legal officer for the association wrote, "The NCAA and its members continue to believe that college campuses should be able to improve the student-athlete experience without facing never-ending litigation regarding these changes." Lower court rulings have allowed college athletes to receive compensation in the form of computers and supplies for school, even advanced degrees. One ruling and a law passed in California allow athletes to profit from their name, image, and likeness. But the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said the NCAA cannot limit education-related compensation or benefits. Now that the High Court has taken the appeal, the concept of amateur college athlete could forever change.
The NCAA hasn't policed themselves. They make bad decision after bad decision, and so somebody's going to have to change it for them.
Analyst Lester Munson disagrees with the argument that education will suffer when revenue is diverted to athletes.
The only people who will suffer in this are the executives of the NCAA, the athletic directors, and the coaches who have enormous salaries from the revenue from these sports.
The spirit of amateur athletics is a difficult thing for lawyers to articulate and argue. What's easy to argue is that fans pay to see the athletes, and the athletes don't get paid.
Our specific question for you is, should colleges and universities pay their student athletes? We'll begin with Judy Hastings, who writes, no. If they are paid, it makes them professional athletes. College is for education, not a career choice. Rita Brigance says no as well. She says it wasn't that long ago that colleges had to pay fines for offering sign-on bonuses. Also, smaller schools would not have as much money to offer. If anything, offer fee reductions of books and such, or on-campus housing discounts. Reed Van Embro says most of the athletes get a free education in the form of scholarships. They have in no way reached professional status. And Danielle Boatwright, no as well, because they get a scholarship. Danielle says, my husband, however, says yes because of how much money some colleges make off their players due to merchandise and the like. As far as our Insta poll goes this morning, numbers have been pretty consistent, and it's an overwhelming no. 85% of you say colleges and universities should not pay their student athletes. You still got plenty of time to vote. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back right after this.
As we get further into winter, students across the 4 states may be waiting for snow days. But for one local district, those days will look a bit different. KOAM's Zach Dodge has their story.
Teacher Marguerite Lapine is going through a lot of change this year. It's her first year in McDonald County High School, her first year teaching in Missouri, and she's doing it during a pandemic.
So that's a new thing to try too. There's a lot of firsts this year.
Another first this year for everyone in Mack County, snow days aren't really snow days anymore.
Our kids have already lost so much time in learning due to last spring's closure, and so we really feel like there are gains that need to be made, and we want to take advantage of every second of learning that we can.
The district has decided to turn those short-term school closures into remote learning days, called AMI days, so that students don't miss learning or have to go back and make up work.
I have mixed feelings because as someone of my age, and I'm pretty young still, I remember getting days off for snow. And so there's a part of me that really wants my students to be able to experience that. And then I also understand the other side of it, which is that our students have missed a lot of opportunities.
Monday was their first AMI day, and so far the idea seems to be working pretty well.
At first I was a little upset because I like snow days and stuff, but it wasn't too bad at all for me because like I said, I could get work done and still enjoy the snow and have fun.
So I tried to find a balance with our snow day, virtual day, and try to encourage them to enjoy having time to be at home and to do something different, but also remind them that they can still use that time to be productive for their learning goals.
They had their students fill out different containers and then measure the containers of snow in terms of inches, so the kids were still outside and engaged. So I think we're trying to find ways to make sure that's still not lost, but yet we're still able to continue learning too.
In McDonald County, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
The change was approved for the remainder of this year. At the end of the school year, the district plans to evaluate how it went before making a long-term decision. It's time now to honor today's four-state hero, Nathan Taylor, a tech sergeant in the United States Army. He served in Baghdad, Iraq, and Afghanistan from 2008 to 2009, and then again in 2010. And there he earned the Air Force Achievement Medal and the Global War on Terrorism Medal. A native of Uniontown, Kansas, we salute you, Nathan Taylor, our four-state hero. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:31. Let's take a look at today's top stories. State of Kansas prepares for the next wave of COVID-19 vaccines. In a press conference yesterday, Governor Laura Kelly said the next wave of coronavirus vaccines will be for first responders, some essential workers, teachers, child care workers, and people with high-risk health conditions. The general public can expect to receive vaccines in the summer of 2021. Until then, the governor is urging Kansans to keep following CDC guidelines. 2 men are arrested in connection with the shooting deaths of a Willard, Missouri couple. According to police, 28-year-old Alexander Shute and 30-year-old Brianna Sproul were shot on their porch on November 14th. Willard Police Chief Tom McLean said the two were targeted. Since then, police have arrested 18-year-old Theron Plum, who's accused of helping dispose of the gun used in the murders. The latest arrest is Plum's relative, Matthew Plum. He's accused of actually disposing of the gun. And there are other suspects in the case, including the alleged shooter, but police are not releasing any names until the formal charges are filed. 18-year-old Theron Plum was charged with tampering with physical evidence in a felony prosecution. We know that most students love a good snow day, but those look a little different now in McDonald County. The district has changed how snow days work so that students do not miss classwork. Whenever there's inclement weather, they'll have students stay home and learn virtually. Monday, just a few days ago, was one of those days, and they say it worked pretty well. Change only applies to short school closures that are less than 36 hours. Well, the winter season's first major snowstorm in the east plowed into major metropolitan areas. At least 12 inches or more are still expected. Some outerlying areas possibly getting up to 18 inches, if not more. In Westchester County, north of New York City, snow and wind gusts caused cars to go sliding through, pulling off out of traffic altogether onto highway roads. I think, Michael, you were talking about some pileups with dozens of cars in them, right?
60
cars.
60 car pileup in Pennsylvania that was responsible for the deaths of 2 people, injuring scores more. All right, Tanya, let's go ahead and take a look at it really fast here on the East Coast. The low pressure system, as indicated here by the jet stream, that's where you see the swirl and still tons of snow dropping down. So if we put this on about a 12-hour loop, give you an idea of how powerful and widespread that it was from the mid-Atlantic up to the northeastern section. And so portions of Pennsylvania, that's where they had the pile up through New York. State of New York right now, they've got their kids learning virtually today. You've got multiple state troopers asking people just stay at home, please. Now, as far as what we've got on our Skywatch storm tracker, we stay on the clear side, but I wanted to revert back to this because we were talking about the 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of snow that we got. I think the highest report we saw was 0.8 of an inch out in Elk County. Look at what we're dropping down here. We're talking about 3 to 5 feet of snow from that system. So just absolutely devastating for the northeastern portion. From the Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin, been lucky, haven't seen much fog develop as of yet. We have seen it in some low-lying areas because our temperatures are so cold. Just want everybody to be apprised, you know, that can freeze over very quickly on our roads, especially the rural routes. So want everybody on top of that. Feels only like it's 16 degrees right now at the Freeman Health System Sky Camera. So take all these temperatures that are mid-20s for the most part and know that you got to knock off 6-7 degrees. We're only sitting at 12 as far as the wind chill in Neodesha and Independence, 17 in Lamar, and 20 in Anderson. Now, we are going to be able to warm up here. A good deal of sunshine compared to what we had yesterday, especially. Up into the mid-40s right there. Wind's not going to be too bad, but the wind is going to kick in on Friday. Friday is going to be mostly cloudy as a system rolls in, and good southerly winds. What that's going to do is actually put us up into the 50s here Friday afternoon. As we work from Friday night into Saturday morning, we see the development of rain. But once again, it's mainly going to be to the south. Some of this right here, that just amounts to almost a mist or a drizzle, if you will. And some of that's not going to be even able to freeze over. And because we're coming off of a Friday in the 50s, not really worried about travel concerns, even in this northwest quadrant where we see a little bit of a flip over. Yeah, we see it kind of blow up there when it got on the other side of the Ozarks, but for us, probably 1/4 inch of rain. That's all we're worried about. And after it rolls through mid-Saturday morning, we're still going to get sunshine and be up into the 50s again on Sunday. We'll be back with more KOM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Welcome back to the KOM Morning News. Now, as we lead up to Christmas, we've been talking about our Notes to the North Pole, an opportunity for 4-state boys and girls to let the big man up north know exactly what was on their Christmas list. And here's the great thing about it. We've got a special guest that's going to join us for the next week to read off those lists. That is right. Direct from the North Pole, we are fortunate enough to be joined by Santa Claus. Santa, I want to thank you for joining us this morning and helping us out with our Notes to the North Pole.
It is my pleasure, Michael. I'm glad I could do it.
You don't mind if I pepper you with some morning questions from our kiddos, do you?
No, be my guest.
Well, I got one here from Sarah because Sarah kind of read my mind. And Sarah, I appreciate this. This is a wonderful question. Santa, what is Rudolph's favorite food?
Well, that's a good question, Sarah. Rudolph really likes carrots. He eats a lot of those, but all of the reindeer like candy canes too, but we try not to give them a whole lot of those.
And Sarah, we're going to come right back to you, but also too, while I was thinking about food, Maddie and Bailey, they came up with a pretty interesting one as well. Personal preference, of course, but what kind of cookies do you like?
Well, truthfully, I've never met a cookie I didn't like, but my favorite is probably chocolate chip.
With 2020 being the year it was, I greatly appreciate all you kiddos that sat down and took time from your schedules to get a hold of Santa and let him know perhaps what was on your wish list. And I want to go back to Sarah from Girard right there, because I understand that she was one of our first ones to write you a list, Santa. Can you tell me a little bit what Sarah's looking for?
Well, sure can. I've got the list here of the kids that wrote in, and Sarah is wanting a toy kangaroo, toy bat, a toy dog, a real dog, a table, and a remote control monster truck.
Sarah's house is going to be a menagerie by the time it's all said and done.
It sure is. But also Sarah wanted to wish everyone a safe and happy holiday season.
I understand. Sarah, also, you talk about out of the kindness of your heart, she also let us know about some of her family members there, didn't she?
She sure did. She gave me a list of them, and she talked about her brother Doug, her mom Tina, her grandmother Connie.
Sarah, that is so nice of you to bring up your other family members. That shows that you have a heart of gold, kiddo. Santa got Malachi up in Nevada. And Malachi, I understand, he's kicked off a little bit with a Disney theme.
Yes, he did. He sure did. He's looking for a Mickey Mouse and Paw Patrol. And this is also Malachi's first Christmas.
Santa, I know you're extremely busy, but I'm going to ask you, can we do one more list? Because I know Bailey in Pittsburgh, she also got one to you.
Yes, she did, and we sure can. We can do whatever we can fit in here, Michael. Yeah, Bailey's asking for a baby doll that looks real, baby clothes, and baby toys.
Santa, I tell you what, I know you're busy in the workshop and everything, and I know you've got to get back. And also, tell Mrs. Claus we said hi. You mind if we catch up with you tomorrow? Is that a possibility?
That would be great, Michael. I'll be glad to meet with you again.
All right, so we're going to check in with Santa tomorrow. Want to thank our good friends at the Christmas Shop for hooking us up with the big man up north. Santa, I know you're swamped, and I appreciate your time, and we'll see you right back here on the KOAM Morning News. As a matter of fact, we're going to have more KOAM Morning News when we return right after this. With the coronavirus still surging across the country, cities and states have imposed new restrictions on businesses and restaurants to help try to slow the spread, but many restaurant owners fearing they will not survive. Danye Bacchus spoke to those who say they're in dire need of help during the holidays.
So, did you sell any lobster tails?
When we first met Tony Stafford back in March,
2? How many more do you have left?
coronavirus restrictions forced his Ford's Fish Shack restaurants in Virginia to just takeout, and he had furloughed more than 100 employees. With the coronavirus still raging 9 months later,
every day you fight that mental battle with yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Am I going to beat this?
Tony received a PPP loan and brought back most of his employees, but he's still not allowed to operate at full capacity.
Do you think your restaurant will be able to survive?
Our backs are against the wall, but we're going to fight every day to keep these restaurants going because, I've got great employees and I don't want to lose a single one of them to a layoff or to, a forced closure.
The Independent Restaurant Coalition says 500,000 independent restaurants and 11 million jobs could be lost because of the pandemic. It's now pushing Congress to pass the Restaurants Act, a $120 billion fund geared toward assisting small restaurants and bars.
It's been challenging.
Patty Rockenwagner's Dear John's restaurant in Los Angeles sits empty. Indoor and outdoor dining are not allowed during what she says is the most lucrative season for restaurants. She's asking patrons to help.
There's a letter to sign that asks Congress to please act on this bill, because for every day that this relief is not provided, it's another restaurant that's closing, a bar that's closing, jobs that are going away forever, and dreams that are dashed.
And Tony is asking for help too, encouraging people to continue to support restaurants by buying gift cards or stopping in for dine-in or takeout. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
After more than half a year of gains, U.S. retail sales fell for the second straight month in November. Commerce Department says spending dropped by more than 1%. Now, October's numbers initially showed a 0.3% growth rate, but October's now been revised to show a 0.1% drop. Of course, declines likely fueled in part by a resurgence of the coronavirus, which led to renewed lockdowns and financial worries for many Americans. If you drive a Honda, listen up, because we got several massive recalls involving more than 1.4 million cars. Some 2020 Accords have a computer issue that can cause the rear camera, turn signals, and windshield wipers to malfunction. There are also 2 drive shaft recalls involving Civic hybrids. The Honda Fit, the Acura, and the Accord, those models are from various years, and drive shafts can corrode in winter weather and break. There's also a power switch recall involving Honda CR-Vs, those model years 2002 through 2006. Coming up next, a historic day for Negro League baseball. We'll have that story when we return with the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Really great story coming out of Major League Baseball. Rights or wrong, it actually took place back in 1968-69. For decades, a baseball league entertained crowds of fans, smashed records, produced some of the best sluggers in history. As a matter of fact, of the 7 Negro Leagues that are now being acknowledged by Major League Baseball, 35 of them are in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. It's crazy to think that those leagues were never officially recognized by Major League Baseball itself until right now. Kevin Cork has the story.
A major step forward for Major League Baseball. MLB announcing Wednesday it's designating the Negro Leagues as a major league, calling it a long overdue recognition. 100 years after the Negro Leagues founding, the names, stats, and records of about 3,400 black players from 1920 through 1948 will now become a part of Major League Baseball history.
It is a move in the right direction to acknowledge that the two streams of baseball, black and white, running in parallel between 1920 and 1948, may now merge.
The 7 different leagues saw some of the greatest players of all time, including Josh Gibson, considered one of the best hitters and catchers in history. Satchel Paige, the legendary pitcher who attracted record crowds, and even Jackie Robinson, who only played for 1 season before he broke the baseball color barrier. 35 of these players have already been inducted into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, though some of them were never invited to play a single Major League Baseball game.
There is no record, whether it's Josh Gibson's batting average or Satchel Paige's won-loss total, that resonates with me as does the inclusion of more than 3,400 players, most of them dead, whose family can now point to them in the Major League Baseball record book.
This is the latest marker of a nationwide reckoning with race. It also comes just days after the Cleveland Indians announced they will change their nickname after 105 years.
Clearly, the crux of the story is, righting the wrong from 1968-69. But us seamheads, we can also talk about what it does statistically to the Major League Baseball record book. Now, these are counting statistics, home runs, career wins, stolen bases. But then you've got your rate statistics, things like ERA, things like batting average. Because if you look at Josh Gibson, a career .365 hitter, and Judd Wilson, he hit about .350. Those 2 guys would rank top 10 in the major leagues all time in batting average. And if Major League Baseball decides to incorporate those numbers, both of those players had more than 3,000 at-bats. I'm not talking about a cup of coffee here. Those were incorporated into the top 10. The likes of Ted Williams and Babe Ruth would actually fall out of the top 10. All right, I'm done stat geeking out. Skywatch Storm Tracker, just about done with our cloud cover high pressure system over us. We're going to get a whole lot of sunshine, a whole lot more than what we did yesterday. It was hard to peak. 23 in Parsons, 25 in Carthage, and 25 in Pittsburgh as well. That circular motion you see off the East Coast, huge low pressure system. That's what brought them that massive, massive storm. And as this thing went from the mid-Atlantic to the Northeast up to New England, a 60-car pileup in Pennsylvania resulting in 2 deaths. You've got anywhere from 3 to 5 feet, not inches, feet of snow up through northern Pennsylvania, entire state of New York. Their kids going to a virtual class today. They canceled it statewide. That's something else. All of a sudden here in the 4 states, 44 and sunny. I mean, who can really complain? And as we look at the 7-day forecast, we are going to pick up clouds, warmth, and wind on Friday. It's going to be blustery. Now, late Friday night into early Saturday, that's where we've got some rain. It's going to be light, nothing severe. Not even going to really have a chance to flip over into the old wintry mix. And even if it does, certainly not going to stick around with those temperatures. And then we finish off 53 and sunny on Sunday. Look at this. First day of winter, Monday. Winter solstice, 60 degrees. My goodness. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. A major winter storm is making its way across the northeastern U.S. Some areas are expected to have as much as 2 feet of snow on the ground by tonight. The storm will also bring gusting winds that could lead to widespread power outages. An FDA advisory committee will meet Thursday, today, to discuss whether to recommend emergency approval for a second vaccine, the one made by Moderna. Vice President Mike Pence and Second Lady Karen Pence are set to be vaccinated publicly at the White House on Friday. President-elect Joe Biden is also expected to receive the vaccine on camera, possibly sometime next week. President-elect Joe Biden on Wednesday announced former campaign rival Pete Buttigieg is his choice for transportation secretary. The former South Bend, Indiana mayor would be the first openly gay man confirmed by the U.S. Senate to the cabinet. Let's check in with Michael with a final look at your forecast.
Day planner for our Thursday has mostly sunny skies this afternoon and a little southwest breeze, just 5 to 10 miles per hour. So as we cruise through our day, let's talk about Friday into the weekend. Friday is going to be mostly cloudy and windy, but it comes in from the south, so really can't complain because that's going to push us up into the 50s. Friday night, late Friday night. Early Saturday morning, that's equivalent of light rain. You got to find the dark green on this model, and it's mainly down to the south right there. So we're not going to pick up much rain, say about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a pocket of 1/2 an inch. So certainly nothing to worry about flooding or anything severe like that. 7-day forecast, be done with that probably about mid-Saturday morning. A little cool on Saturday. We'll go mid-40s, but then Sunday right back into the 50s. Don't forget, our first day of winter is Monday, and the anomaly on the 7-day forecast. What else would happen in the 4 states? You know, you just throw up 60, even though it's the first day of winter. I want to thank you all for letting us put the good in your morning. Of course, we'll be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.